All right, GM, everybody. Hope you all are doing well this Monday morning. Price action aside, we're really excited to have all y'all with us. Get started, have some fun today, talking about the latest developments in DAOs and crypto. We got Edu joining us here any moment to kick things off. We're of course streaming live on YouTube as well, and to try to make things as easy as possible for y'all today. If you are here in the server with us and you see in the OneHive server that there is an event at the top of the server column, and it says happening now, 1HTV DAO's news alpha. There is a link there, should be a bit.ly link, and if you click on it, it should take you on over to our YouTube page. And on YouTube, you'll also see that we are streaming there. We got some cool graphics and such that we will be sharing with you throughout today's show. You get some visual references to the types of stuff that we're discussing. And of course, this also will be recorded so you can watch playback, and we'll be putting some highlights up a little bit later in the week as well. Let me go ahead and get Edu up here on the stage with us. GM, everybody, we're going to get started in just a second.
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Hello, sir. GM, how are you doing, Edu?
Doing good. Having kind of a slow afternoon here in Barcelona time. It is nap time, siesta time in Barcelona's time. So that's I'm paying the price to stay awake by being a little bit slow today. But all good. How about you? How was your morning?
Hey, man, yeah. I think it's 6 hours, right, between us. So it's gone good so far. Sun is shining. It's going to warm up today. It was kind of rainy over the weekend, so I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good. Glad to be here to just to dig into things with you and share the good news and things that are happening around the DAO space. I know everybody's, market action, price action sucks, but we're going to be here every Monday regardless. So glad y'all are able to join us here on the server. Again, click on the bit.ly link to check out YouTube as well. Make sure you subscribe over there, and we'll do a quick housekeeping rather, and we'll get started today. All chat related to today's show, if you would drop it in the OneHive TV channel. So if you scroll up from the stage here under the Swarms category here in the server, you should see OneHive TV, and we'll be dropping links in there to the stories we're talking about, some snaps maybe of the screen that are relevant. And so any questions, any comments that y'all have, anything you want to add to the conversation, please don't hesitate on the OneHive TV channel. If you are watching on YouTube, GM to everybody there as well, feel free to do the same in the chat channel. We really want to offer some opportunities for y'all to get engaged today. We did tweet about today's event, as we always do, over on Twitter. If you retweet and tag some friends in the comment section, then you'll be entered to win some honey. I think we'll do that in the middle of today's show. So after the first hour, and then we might do some additional engagement in channel. Rohek is, of course, with us, as always, man with the plan when it comes to the POAPs. So he runs the show on that end of things, and he's got some awesome skills there. Really appreciate the work that you do each week for us, man. Second hour today, just so everybody knows, we're going to have Willie Fox from ShapeShift DAO joining us to talk about the latest out of ShapeShift and what they got cooking for the remainder of this year. Some really cool stuff that they're going to be building into their web app, as well as partnerships that they have on the tokenomics side. So definitely stick around. Probably some good alpha from Willie in the second hour when it comes to the Fox token and ShapeShift. But let's go ahead and kick it off, Eduardo. If you want to get us started with the news, sir, we're going to hit Aave first, I believe. Is that right?
Yes. Do you wanna, before we start, do you wanna make a quick review what's coming ahead for this week in the streams, just for people to know what the other programs that we have here?
Sure. Yeah, we can. I'll share this week. We have. Well, you know what I can tell you to do. If this is your first time joining us in the server or on YouTube, if you come to the OneHive server, you can go up to the announcements, and we do post. What I've been doing each week is posting the recap. So the last announcement is, I think, from last Friday, where you can watch the DAO News show, watch the interview we had with Giveth. You can listen back to the Spanish language show we had last week. So at the end of each week, I'll be posting these links in case you missed any of the shows you want to watch them back. And for this week, we will have DAO News Alpha that you're listening to right now. And we'll have Late Night with Billy Jitsu tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. Or sorry, I'm sorry, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm not sure. I don't think Billy is with us quite yet this morning. If you've been listening, he's had his show, I believe, 2, if not 3 times, doing it bi-weekly. So it would have been 2 weeks ago tomorrow. Late Night with Billy Jitsu. He brings a very very good developer perspective to all types of stuff, and he talks lots of good shit about projects that frankly deserve it. So if you're interested in hearing some late night stuff, certainly not for the kids, but it's a fun show tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We have NFTs and gaming every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. I believe Dosh was out last week, Dosh and Solar out last week sick. I think Solar is making a full recovery, and they'll be back this Wednesday at 3 p.m. And so those 3 shows, today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and of course watch for the post at the end of the week. Follow 1HTV on YouTube. Hit the bell notification, and you'll get the latest that we post up there either when we go live or when we post highlights after the show is over. Back to you, Edu.
All right. Welcome, everyone. That I see some folks are joining just now. We are about to start the headlines news. Mainly, these news are gathered from Snapshot, but today we will be sharing a variety of resources and news that are not only relevant to the Snapshot ecosystem. And we will start with Aave. Does that make sense to you, T-Wells?
Sounds good to me. Let's hit it.
All right. So the first proposal that we have here today, it's supply borrow cap framework, fast track framework for the Aave protocol. It's a proposal that started on May the 5th and it ended on May the 7th. And basically, it's a proposal to increase Aave protocol v3 efficiency and allow faster updates to caps on v3 markets. So this snapshot vote basically intended to implement a faster track framework for these caps. So they explain and provide some context and saying that the success of the Avalanche v3 market shows some protocol inertia inefficiency. The USDC deposit cap was reached in less than 10 days, and the regular framework to increase it will be to pause a governance thread for 5 days, then start a snapshot vote that start 24 hours after posting for a vote that lasts at least 3 days, and then gather proposition power for 80K Aave, then post an AP for another 5 days. So they basically summarize this, that this will take usually a couple of weeks, and that this couple of weeks may hurt the protocol growth and attractiveness. So the snapshot proposal, besides all the timings, it's aimed to solve this issue. So they basically divided in 3 steps. Step 1, the governance thread for 24 hours. Step 2, a snapshot with immediate vote open for 48 hours. And step 3, community multi-sig enforcement. The process should take maximum 4 days, meaning that in networks currently with Guardian, the Guardian should prepare the signing in advance to assure execution no more than 24 hours after the snapshot closes positively. This current proposal that we are talking about also will upgrade the USDC supply cap on Aave Avalanche v3 market of a plus 100 to a total new of 4 billion. Right now, this proposal already end with a yes, 100% yes. Quite unanimous, I must say. And 121,000K Aave on the proposal, and about 7K voters on this proposal. So basically, they are trying to adapt to changes in the market and also improve the governance by acknowledging that they sometimes need to act faster. What do you think about that?
Yeah, man, this is an interesting story here, and I actually have the forum post up on screen if we're watching on YouTube. And so it's worth noting just out of the box that the OP is Mark Zeller, who is one of the I guess my understanding founders, or I don't know if it's probably CEO isn't the right term, but definitely one of the founders and bigwigs of Aave. So yeah, it's it makes total sense, right? That you want to be more agile in your ability to tweak protocols. But he also recognizes the trade-off, right? In that he says, this inertia is good for protocol safety, but it hurts protocol growth and attractiveness. So, in other words, it's important to recognize that trade-off, right? When you have a longer timeline for doing things, you're probably going to have less risk of instability and rash decision making. So like figuring out what those things are that you should have the ability to pump the brakes, and or there's like structural delays in those decision making processes. But when it comes to, I guess, the specifics of the context here, I get the desire that you want more agility, particularly if you have seriously adverse market conditions. So yeah, it's interesting. I appreciate the proposal. I don't know where I come down on it per se, but the trade-off is definitely interesting. And I think a lot of DAOs are probably thinking along these lines right now.
Yeah, I agree on that. We will see how this goes. I mean, it already passed, so we will see how the implementation goes. Sometimes governance processes take some time for people to adapt, because if the typical thing that you see a proposal or someone ping you about a proposal, but then you're like, oh, I will wait later to vote, and then but with these kind of things, you only have a few days, less even of that, to make your vote count. So it will be interesting if we see some voter apathy, and see how the governance on Aave keeps going.
Well, and
And
this
then there
this
is another
proposal,
one that is
real
open
quick.
for
It,
Aave,
it,
that it's an ARC. If you go back to the snapshot of Aave, you will see it, which is an ARC proposal that basically says enable SUSD as a collateral on Aave V3 on Optimism with a 10 million SUSD supply cap. So for folks who are not familiar with SUSD, SUSD is a decentralized stablecoin over collateralized by the this acronyms always kills me. Collateralized by the SNX token. My lord. The synthetics token. Do you know about synthetics?
right.
I don't know if
Yes,
I'm
it does.
pronouncing it correctly, but are you aware of that token, Ted?
Yeah. Synthetics is sort of a blue chip OG, right? DeFi. I don't think it's been I haven't heard much about it recently. But yeah, SNX for sure.
Now you heard it. So, anyways, so they explain on the proposal that SUSD is already listed on Aave markets as a lendable asset, as well as the synthetics token, which can be used as a collateral in addition to borrow lending. There is a significant liquidity for SUSD on both Mainnet and Optimism, and they are proposing for it to be enabled as a collateral on Aave V3 on Optimism with a 10 million SUSD supply cap. They also explain the risk parameters. For example, the ASUSD max LTV to 60%, liquidation threshold to 75%, liquidation penalty to 5%, and a bunch of all other parameters that are proposed. They also have motivation and rationale on this proposal. They're very similar to the ones that we have explained before. SUSD market cap has grown tremendously over the past year, and the steady demand for the centralized stablecoins has contributed to its growth. And SUSD is highly over-collateralized by the synthetics token and the governance token and the backstop for the synthetics protocol. The rise in its liquidity in a major dexes has contributed to SUSD stability over the past year, and allowing collateral use will promote its liquidity in Aave markets. So they offer, as usual, Aave has quite a nice proposal template. And for this proposal, that will end on May the 12th, it started today, May the 9th, it will end on May the 12th. It has a Jess so far, 99 Jess vote passing with 6.7 Aave tokens on it, and 300 voters on this proposal. So we will see. I don't know if you feel like this too, Ted, but I felt sometimes that on the past week, we are in the battles of the collateralized coins.
Yeah, this is actually, I find this interesting, and if somebody if somebody in the audience can correct me if I'm wrong, right? So in my understanding that SNX, since Synthetics was one of the first like or early blue chips that deployed on Optimism. Like I thought if I remember correctly, it was like one of the early partnerships to get liquidity over to that L2, and so now they've done their Optimism has done their first round, their first airdrop. I think there's another one coming, right? I mean, they named it round one or whatever it was, airdrop one. So there's definitely, I think the context here is like Optimism is clearly pushing, and so is Arbitrum, as you brought last 2 weeks ago, right? People who followed this show are getting dope alpha like every week. So we can revisit that in a second. But Optimism has done its first round of airdrops. I think Synthetics has been there for a while. They've been there, since the gas prices have been still relatively high on layer two. And I think just because they wanted to be there, okay. And so now I guess once we see that Aave is there is this. It's interesting. It's like a blue chip partnership on Optimism. So I mean, I think that this is interesting news here, and I definitely, having capping it at 10 million. That's pretty straightforward. But like essentially users are going to be incentivized not only to come to Optimism, but you're obviously going to have this interoperability. Like it's not just an airdrop, right? Oh, I can get an airdrop. There needs to be this type of interoperability between protocols in order to have people, I think, bridge over capital. So yeah, I think this is good. I think this is bullish for Optimism, I would say. It involves three key players, I guess: Optimism, Aave, and SNX. So it's a really cool story, man.
Yeah, yeah. We will see. As all the things, we will see how it moves. But it seems so far that it will pass. So we will still have a few days yet to conclude how this proposal will go. And the latest news on Aave, it's this proposal that says add support for AVAX on Aave v3. So I had to Google this a little bit because I never heard of that token before. Are you familiar with that token?
I know it's this staking AVAX, but I haven't used the Benki, any of that. So I don't spend a lot of time on AVAX.
Yeah, I don't even know how to pronounce the protocol name. But basically, BenQ, I don't know, liquid staking protocol. It's a liquid staking solution that tokenizes staked AVAX to grant users the ability to utilize a yield-bearing asset within the centralized finance application. That's the definition that Google gave me of BenQ protocol. And then the proposal for SAVAX, basically, it's very simple. It's to set and list SAVAX as a collateral asset. They explain a little bit that this token is a liquid staking token that allows a user to unlock liquidity while participating in securing the Avalanche network. As SAVAX increases in value from network validation reward, listing SAVAX will allow users to unlock liquidity as a collateral tool for loans and in turn generate revenue to Aave. SAVAX is the largest liquid staking token on Avalanche and has over 3 million SAVAX in circulation with deep liquidity in AMMS to support a healthy lending market ecosystem. So, just in case folks here are not familiar with liquid staking token, would you like to explain what is that in your own words, Ted?
Yeah, no, I mean I haven't gotten into this as much as others. I know that what is it? What is the Stakewise? Stakewise.io recently deployed on Gnosis chain, and this is like liquid and GNO staking. So I suppose it's a little bit different because it's not the utility token of the chain, like it's not SXDAI or something like that. But it is, so basically Stakewise, let me get it up on screen actually, because I'll just do a little plug here because I know something about it. It essentially enables you to like, make a derivatives play on your staked assets. Stakewise.
Yeah, you could say that. You could say basically that you can delegate your tokens to a third party that stakes for you, and you don't lose access to your funds.
Yeah, typically I believe it's similar, if not the same, as an interest-bearing token, right? So because it also earns yield. So like for instance, if you go to StakeWise and you do the app and you stake your GNO, you're gonna get, I forget the names of them, but it's like SGNO and RGNO. So like you stake your GNO and it issues an interest-bearing token that represents, it's like a receipt for your deposit that also earns the interest token, which is and so this, yeah, and these can then, as you said, be like traded on some dexes, and yeah. So I guess this, like, back to the story here. What was it? This is in terms of enabling it on Aave, right? Is this to
Correct.
be used as collateral? What is this? Or is it just you can borrow? What? Let me see.
It's basically to have as a collateral. Correct.
I got it. Got it.
So this proposal is still up. Sorry, it was closed. It was a proposal that was up from May the 5th to May the 8th, and it passed. So it will be most likely listed. And it passed with 46K Aave tokens on it and 1,400 voters on this proposal. So another token to be listed in Aave.
Yeah, at some point, man, we need to, like, I think I did this for Aave last week. Every DAO has a slightly different quorum, and not every
Yes.
DAO lists the quorum on Snapshot for some reason. I'm fairly certain that the quorum to pass for Aave is like 40K. So yeah, I think I need to double check. But so this one, I'm pretty sure this one passed, but not by a huge margin.
Right.
But yeah, wait, that would make a good
Yeah.
resource. We'll compile something like that if people are interested. I know it's like super nerdy, but that's kind of what we do here. So.
It is, but at the end, the thing about the quorum and the thing about listing a new asset like this is that this asset, if you're not familiar with the token or the protocol, then people don't vote on it. This is really related to um, if you are knowledgeable enough on this stuff or not. So I feel like with this very niche, um, it's not a niche proposal, but with these proposals that appeal for a specific user, they are not, because I don't think it will. Yes, it will impact in the long run other users of the Aave protocol. Um, but in general sense, I think it benefits more the AVAX people. You know what I mean? So maybe the
Sure,
quorum
like, yeah.
also it's lower.
Yeah, and I don't, it's one of these things where recently, even last week, yeah, it was like last week, one of the things we were talking about, Billy hopped on to share. People followed what happened with the near death experience of the Phantom Chain, just because one dude
Right.
was like crazy leveraging, I'm not saying, I have no idea, so I want to be clear. I'm not trying to project that risk onto AVAX, but it's one of these things where when you see something like that happen, it makes you want to look more closely at the sort of fundamentals of what's happening on the chain. So like, yeah, I would say this definitely benefits AVAX like users more than it does Aave, like in a larger sense, for sure. Like, yeah. So to your point, yeah, a little bit less participation, but I think they did still get across the finish line.
Let's hope they gather enough quorum. And then the next one it's Sushi.
Really quick
Sushi
before we head,
2.0.
can I interject really
Yeah,
quick? Just
go
want to
ahead.
make sure, because I do see
Yes.
people in chat, folks. If you want a chance to win honey, I dropped the link to the tweet for today's show in the One Hive TV channel. Okay, I empathize with you that, like, you need to look a little bit to find it. This is being addressed. Like, the server is going to get a bit of an overhaul. I know I keep saying that, but we're down it here. So, but to be eligible, so this goes for everybody. If you want a chance to win $10 of honey, you need to retweet and then tag people underneath in the comment section. So right now, if I'm looking, I'm seeing 3 people who are like eligible. We want to get those numbers up a little bit. Let me double check actually really quick. How many people have retweeted and left a comment? Let's see. We got one more. Oh, we got a few more. Here we go. Yes. Okay. Let us see here. We have 4 people, I believe. LMAO Ryan, Crispy Cryptina, Pal, Crypto Trader. By the way, Pal, if you're in the Discord right now, DM me, okay? Because like you won last week, fella, and I want to make sure that we're wherever you are. Sorry, I don't want to make any assumptions. But I think you won last week, and I want to make sure we get you that honey. Rohex also there. So retweet, comment, just like leave, tag two people, leave a funny comment, whatever, and we'll do the spin the wheel thing at the top of the hour. So just want to interject that, and then yes, Edu, I'm gonna click over, take it away with Sushi.
No, I just want to note. I just want to note on honey that honey it's on low, so $10 could be way more in a in a few months.
Hey man, we're structurally biased here, but yeah. Not financial advice, but get that honey, hold that honey. Who knows, right?
Exactly. All right. Let's go to Sushi 2.0. A restructure for the road ahead. This is an implementation proposal that started on May the 4th and will end on May 11th. And this is a very interesting proposal. So they basically mentioned that on the second half of 2021, Sushi took a tumble, and they mentioned that this tumble was to do the lack of the operational efficiency and the lack of focused attention toward the long term. And with the failed Frog Nation takeover, community members took the lead to sort out the issues and establish a way forward, along with a team motivated to keep Sushi alive. This proposal that we are talking today, it's a first step towards the reorganization of Sushi. It's broken down into 3 actionable items to be voted on. The first one is to retain the talent required to bring Sushi into the future, covering the entire functional spectrum of engineering, design, business development, marketing, community engagement, shoyu, operations, and advisory. Second, the establishment of a formal compensation committee to serve as a check-in in transparency and accountability for all the budgetary matters. Third, with the implementation of the proposal, a formal executive and leadership search process will commence to complement the team being retained. And this proposal will earmark 6 million Sushi with a 4-year time horizon to allocate toward. First, current contributors allocations. Second, future high allocation. And third, a portion of the funds to fund future project strategy and leadership. So this proposal, it's quite of a mix, turnout so far in votes. So it has, so far the Yes is winning with 51% and 900k Sushi tokens on Yes, and the No is with 851k Sushi tokens and a 48%. So quite of a close vote so far. 500 people have voted so far. The bigger whale on this vote has voted no, followed by the second whale that also voted no, and then the rest seems to be yes. So yeah, what do you think, Ted?
Hey, I think you found a juicy one. I don't know it. Like I this is interesting. So I'll just add that like if you're watching on YouTube, I'll click over to it really quick. And then I put a bunch of links here in the Discord. So I actually started with this one because if you look at the forum post, I think this may predate it. Like this is the end of April. So this is a post on Mirror. Envisioning and sort of outlining Sushi 2.0. So if you, for this roadmap, so if you really want to dig in on this, I think this might be the place to start. It's quite lengthy. And then we also have the forum post that we had on screen. I was trying to track a bit of what Ed was sharing with you in the details. And then, we also have the snap. So I would say it is interesting to see people, trying to invest the time right now to resuscitate, I guess, Sushi. I don't know enough, and I've never been in the community enough to know the dynamics here, but I would definitely say that the snapshot that you're, like the dynamics you're referring to are interesting, right? In that you have the two largest token holders or token voters in opposition. And we're not quite halfway to quorum. So I guess, how long does it go till the 11th? We still got time. This will be done this Wednesday, so in 2 days, yeah.
Yes, you are right. So if you click on the forum post, the discussion it's and the explanation are bigger. They explain, for example, the list of team members that were retained on the organization. They explain the process. They even express what other organizational progress is happening, future products and releases, and things to be excited about. So they have this at least summary of very formal overhaul of this sushi 2.0 as they call it, with the mirror post at the end as I had mentioned. So yeah, it's interesting. We will see. So far on the forum, the votes were 88% yes. So on the forum it passed, and it has quite a lot of engagement, around 64 comments on this proposal. That was put on the forum 14 days ago, so they had quite a few days to talk about it. Have you ever used Sushi, by the way, Ted?
Of course, yeah. Yes. And we followed Sushi. I mean, we've been following their Snap for quite a while. And I would say that this is definitely not it doesn't come out of the blue, right? They've been working on a number of things that I think are outlined in this organizational progress. We covered when they're looking at their legal structure, and all this has kind of, I think, been leading to or building around this new roadmap. So yeah, I mean, look, I have to read, and I would recommend the same to other people. I have to read in on the mirror post to understand more about the actual where the rubber hits the road as far as product and how they're going to innovate in new ways and all of that. So I don't have enough of that information to provide any additional thoughts, I guess. But I'll be interested to read in on it. And again, folks, it's linked up in the Discord here. And if you're on YouTube as well, we'll drop it in the chat there for you to take a look. I mean, the big thing for me again is sort of seeing, it's kind of, it reminds me of in some ways, a fellow that I met when I was in Denver, who was handed the reins to try to resuscitate Yam Finance. And some of these DeFi projects that still have considerable assets in their treasuries, if there's people with intent and creative ideas, who knows what can happen, right?
Sorry. Sorry, I got lost for a second. So the idea of I really like Sushi mainly because I feel Sushi has this really nice narrative. I like their products, the way they name their products and stuff, and I even like their logo. I have used it a few times. Not a big user of it, but I really like the narrative, and I really like the way that it seems. And if I take a step back, it seems like a very humble proposal. It's not this kind of stating, oh, my product is the best, my product will be the best, this kind of no, it seems like a very humble proposal that just says what it needs to say, and it aims to sort of improve um and to improve their protocol and their product. And I really like that from this proposal, at least the tone that it has. And I don't know, I find that they took a long time or a lot of effort and allocated to build this proposal for the best of the product.
Yeah, man, I have to dig in and see. I definitely dig the branding and all that as well. From the start, it's pretty slick.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So the rest of the news that we have for today are more commentary kind of news. Some things that we found today during the past week that was quite interesting. The first one, it's a news posted on AP News on May 2 by Graham Dunbar, which basically says FIFA blockchain deal is sorry. Basically, FIFA made a deal with Algorand. I don't know if you folks are familiar with Algorand, but if not, I'm pretty sure you are familiar with FIFA. And basically, the news says that the FIFA got a first new American sponsor of the Men's World Cup in 11 years on Monday, signing a deal for this year's tournament in Qatar with blockchain technology provider Algorand. The deal is also a technical partnership to help FIFA develop a digital assets strategy. Soccer's World Body said it could help FIFA market soccer-related non-fungible tokens (NFTs). Do you imagine? Do you remember? I don't know if this was common on the US, but in America it was really common. When you for every World Cup you will have these albums that you will just fill with stickers or whatever related to the players from the World Cup or based on
Sure.
the countries. So this is like it seems to me like this something related to that when they explain they want to do soccer related NFTs. What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. Everybody wants to do their own NFT, right? So, um, FIFA,
Right.
FIFA, you're late. No, I don't know. I guess this is bullish. It's interesting. It's like, it just sort of seems like this moment, just like this right now in particular. It's like as it's clearly the tide is changing. There are some that are still like, hey, I want to go out and swimming when the surf is good, whatever. Horrible analogy, but you get the idea. It's like FIFA. It'll be interesting to see. I definitely, on one hand, there's like that short-term sentiment. It's like, okay, well, this, maybe the immediate hype is past. But on the other hand, I feel like this speaks to a larger like bullish trend, I guess, which is just general adoption and desire for an acceptance of digital assets and like, how like what the UI looks like. It's probably going to be mobile driven, but that is like digital asset playing cards that kids think of in the
But
same way. Like I can see that. And so I don't know exactly how Algorand intersects with this specifically at the technical level in some unique way, but yeah, interesting. What do you think,
yeah,
man? Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. It's. I feel like it is. I feel like this is somehow playing the nostalgia card, the same way when we talk about the BitTorrent blockchain. This very nostalgic kind of thing that this kind of companies appeals to. I mean, FIFA probably earned a lot of money out of these figures albums that they used to produce. I don't know if they still produce them, but I mean, I remember every kid having these albums and trying to fill them with their players and stuff. So if you think about an NFT of players and countries and so on, it makes complete sense. I don't know how interesting it would be because I don't know what other value it will bring to just collect it in a, I guess, way more expensive way than just an album full of figures. But I don't know. I think what is interesting is above whatever they're gonna do is to see how a very traditional space sort of adopts blockchain and partners with a company from Web3. That is the interesting part. Um, so they even have a partnership with Crypto.com. So it's not the first, this is not the first endeavor on Web3 or crypto related partnerships. But we're gonna see how this plays, mainly because this is, FIFA has so much power regarding one of the most played games in the world. The viewership brings, the access to anywhere it brings. So I think it's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that this was on the spectrum of Algorand interest, to be honest. But if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, man, it's interesting. if I'm thinking out loud, it's like it would be really neat if you had, like so digital playing cards, but if you had in your wallet, you had whatever access to all the games at a certain location or something along those lines, and then FIFA has its own walled garden like NFT marketplace where you could sell them, right? The same way as you would. I mean, I'm trying to say, I think if something like that takes shape, I imagine some like an organization like FIFA, they're not going to just let you go ahead and resell an NFT that they issue anywhere you want.
Right.
Like they're going to demand
Right.
those royalties, et cetera. So like, it'll be interesting to see how all that takes shape if it's more than just another NFT shill. Which, like I said, the Algorand is the interesting variable here too. I'm curious to learn more about how. Does anybody know anything here? Anybody in the audience, right? Have you used NFTs or aware of NFTs on Algorand, or have any insights on what you think this project means? That would be awesome. Feel free to share.
Yep. We will see how this evolves. And then the next one, it's Ted's favorite news of today. It's the one about Binance support for Elon Musk Twitter takeover. So, do you want to provide context that?
I mean, sure. I don't know. In part, I'm just not surprised. People have certain feels about Elon Musk. I find in the crypto space. I don't do hero worship, so like I don't like. I don't think that this is that he's some superhuman being like at all. I think that if he can be trusted to do one thing, it's to look out for his own interests. So, like the move on Twitter is interesting. What is more interesting, I guess, here is that he didn't do it on his own per se. Like the arrangements and the financing included a whole bunch of other parties, which is really what, if you're watching on YouTube, which we're going to show you here from the filing with the SEC, this is not like breaking news right now, but this is something obviously that crept onto crypto Twitter last week. So yeah, and by the way, folks, if you're here in the Discord and you want to join us on YouTube to watch what we're showing, as well as be eligible for winning like free honey and all of that, in the Discord here, if you look at the One Hive server, like the column right with all the channels at the very top, you see happening now, the event happening now, 1HTV DAO News Alpha, the link, the location link. Click on that. It's going to take you to YouTube, okay, where you'll see what we're showing here. And I'll hand the mic back to Edu now to maybe, what did you find here you most interesting from the SEC? I think I have the chart. Is that what you want to start with?
Yeah.
All
So basically, is this idea that, as Ted mentioned, there is a bunch of investors on this acquisition of Twitter, and if you see on the chart, when you see the equity investor and the amount, actually Binance it's one of the bigger one with $500,000. I don't know how much does that represent.
I think it's
But
500
it
million, brother.
seems
I think it's half a
there you
bill.
go.
Half a bill. Yeah, half a.
Yeah, there you go. And that's a lot. you know.
There's some
So
great
it's
names on here.
interesting because yeah,
Sorry,
it's
go ahead.
interesting. No, it's okay. It's interesting mainly for the sake of seeing someone from the crypto community is sort of, um, standing up and saying, "Hey, this is our space too." I feel it's. I mean, besides the obvious value that Twitter has, um, it's interesting to see people from the crypto world sort of investing on this. As I mean, I will think Discord, Twitter, and Reddit are the top three things that crypto people use in a daily basis. And this is a personal statement. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. I feel it's interesting to see um, a company from crypto investing on something that a lot of the community, their own community, and their own users use. So the other part that is odd for me is if you scroll down a little bit, the equity investor is this Saudi prince HRH, whatever those acronyms represent. And it's sorry, it's a personal comment again, but this is really weird for me to see the SEC sort of acknowledging a prince kind of titles. It's just odd, kind of old dated, odd. And he's also mentioning this on this art on this piece of document. So I don't know. I don't know when this will happen. I don't know if this will happen at the end. I'm not against or in favor of Elon Musk. I just don't care about him basically. But mainly because he has this tendency to always try to be the cool guy, and this kind of thing sometimes screw up companies. So we will see. I mean, overall, we will see. What do you think?
I think that Saudi Arabia and Binance truly are doing this to protect all our freedom of speech, Edu. I'm sorry. I just look, folks, like if you really buy into that, I have a bridge to sell you. Right? Like from the start, I'm just saying these people are not, these interests are not lining up, right? And, Larry Ellison isn't handing over a cool billion because he loves to give you freedom of speech. And I can tell you sure as shit that Saudi Arabia and Qatar Holdings do not care to extend all humans freedom of speech and expression. So like there is definitely some I would be like this. There's definitely some tension. I'll be generous. There's tension between what Elon is telling everybody he's doing this for, or what people are, maybe it's not even him anymore. It's just the perpetuating narrative that he's doing this for freedom of speech. And then it's like, oh wait, well, maybe we should look at the SEC filing. So here we are. Thank you, Edu, for sharing this. I think it's worth people definitely taking a look at. Look at the list.
Yeah, and of course,
it's a source of truth, right?
Course,
yeah.
Yeah, it has nothing to. I mean, at the end, if we can add to your case, of course, Binance sharing data client with Russia is not something to be worried about.
And what was that? Say that one more time, Edu. I didn't catch that.
That we shouldn't worry about Binance because they didn't share users' data with Russian government back in the day. So
oh right.
We will see how things unfold. Indeed. Anyways, and then there are two other news. One that it's very simple, but I just like it as a fun fact, which is proof of humanity. I don't know if you folks are familiar with proof of humanity. Proof of humanity, it's one of the protocols that are for civil resistance, among other stuff. They are also a UBI protocol, and they had a proposal, very simple, very easy proposal that started on April the 29th and ended on May the 2nd. And it was a proposal to signaling if the community will allow a Spanish phrase. Basically, the Spanish community mentioned that they want people. So to provide context, when you want to access Proof of Humanity registry and be part of their system and protocol, you need to go through a verification process. And they are required to say phrases. So they are explaining that for new entrants or people who are renewing their registration, they will be allowed to say the phrase that is required to register in Spanish at the time when they are recording the video. Those who do it in Spanish will not need to record it on English. The simple motivation is that basically the nouns. There is a pronunciation error for native Spanish speakers saying sometimes things in English, and so on. And also there are phrases that sometimes are valid in English, but they're not valid in Spanish. And at the same time, the labeling. Labeling means basically that some people, the gender part. So let me track back this. They explained in the proposal that this proposal was made to meet the constant request from the Spanish-speaking community that they wanted the registration to be in their native language. The reason why this phrase was chosen is because in Spanish, words have a gender, unlike the phrase in English, which is why it cannot be translated directly, since there could be people within the community who do not feel comfortable with a binary expression. We believe that such a phrase will therefore be appropriate. So yeah, it's really interesting. It's a very
Interesting.
small
Yeah.
tweak, I guess, but they are accepting if this pass. It is winning with 294 votes in favor with 69%. So we will see how this goes. It's just a nice touch from the Proof of Humanity community. And the last news for today, it's an article about Vitalik mentioned that the gas fees only like will be acceptable only if they are at 0.05 cents. So the question for the folks today would be, what is the most that you have spent or paid for a gas on a transaction? How about you, Ted? What is the most
Uh,
how much was the most outrageous gas you have ever spent on gas that you have ever spent?
oh man, like yeah, definitely. The most I've ever spent is unstaking Hex, like a couple months ago or whatever. It was retarded. No, like it was ridiculous. Now, of course, yeah, it was too much. I won't say like it. If people have attempted to do that on mainnet and have all been involved in that project, yeah, definitely looking forward to cheaper fees. But what about you, man?
So I think the most I have spent, it's probably about 60 to 100 bucks on a gas transaction for getting 100 bucks because I
Yeah.
didn't know like these were my naive times where I didn't know about gas at all. So I had to pay or I had to pay um I had to pay some registration or something. I don't remember. And basically it costs 100 bucks or something along those lines. And I didn't know about the gas changes or that it would increase or decrease or that it's something that changes. And then I was like, well, it will cost me 100 bucks to pay the 100 bucks. So there be it. And I pay it because I had no idea. Now I have a gas tracker on my Explorer, on my browser, that prevents me to make stupid decisions. But um, 0.05 is a dream for anyone. I think I have never paid, no, not even close. Like the closer thing I have paid is like $4 for sending ETH to another account. What is your lowest, Ted? Or anyone else, if you want
Lowest?
to share on the
I mean,
yeah.
definitely here on Gnosis Chain has been the lowest, I think.
No, I'm
Like,
meaning ETH.
oh, on ETH,
In
on
Gnosis
ETH
shit, I mean,
mainnet.
I
Okay.
don't count.
I mean, I don't think it's been as cheap as like it's. There have been some windows where it's gotten down to like low teens, I think, in Gwei. But so yeah, and it does depend on what you're trying to do. I think a good benchmark is like a basic deposit withdrawal. It's obviously going to be a little more expensive than I think sending individual tokens, but I find it interesting that he zeroed in on 5 cents. I don't know. Do you have like a magic number that you think would be, or anybody have a magic number that would be like, oh, this is like sufficient to like secure value on chain, but it's not going to like deter users from on ramping and onboarding. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, the winning situation would be at least winning. I mean, it's not a winning situation, but for me, would be that they somehow managed to, if you don't have ETH, if you don't have Matic, if you don't have whatever, you, even if the transaction cost is 0.0001, you cannot do the transaction if you don't have the coin. So for me, the dream will be that the gas could be deducted from the amount of the token, whatever token you're doing. You know what I mean?
Rather than the utility token, or like
No, no, like for example, if you are if I'm getting honey, let's say from Gnosis Chain, but I don't have XI. So if I don't have XI, I cannot swap the honey either to XI. So if you allow me, and this goes to Matic, this goes to any other of the other chains, if you allow me to pay an extra fee, but the gas will be deducted from directly from the honey. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah, no, there's actually something similar. I'll sort of do a quick plug here, folks. If you haven't been to elk.finance, you should check it out because they actually have a feature that helps along the lines of what you're suggesting. So basically, they're deployed on over a dozen chains, and they have what they call an elk bridge. So ELK, elk is their project token, and so let's say you open the DApp and you go to the DEX. I'm not going to do that on screen right now, but if you were to go, and say you were to swap, well, if you have elk, okay, you can send elk from any chain to almost any chain, right? They have a lot of integrations, and you can click a button, and what it does is it will send the elk, so it will transfer that value from, say, Gnosis Chain to Polygon, and then it will automatically deduct a portion to purchase gas in Matic, and you can do that for any chain. So all you have to do is literally have elk, and you can send it anywhere you want. You click a button, and it will do that automatically, so that you don't get stuck when you like arrive on some other
Right.
chain, which I thought is really cool.
Right.
There's not
Yeah.
not enough other bridges that do that.
Yeah. I want that on my MetaMask. I want my life to be
Oh
simpler.
God, I want a lot better things in my MetaMask. Holy shit, man! How? You tell me, man. How is it possible that I can go to all these different wallet readers, DeBank and others, and like they can see everything, including interest-bearing tokens, LP positions. But when I open my MetaMask, brother, if it's not the utility token, I have to go get the contract address and put it in manually. Are you kidding me? Consensus, I salute you. We could do
Yeah.
better. It's an opportunity more than anything. Someone's gonna come up with a killer wallet. I'm afraid. I'm looking forward.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really hoping that MetaMask
Go use
team
Tally.
are just yeah. I'm just hoping MetaMask team are cooking something that we are just not aware, and they suddenly will one day say, "Hey, the wait was worth it." I can only hope that.
Yeah, they just want you in there swapping, I think, right now, right? Like that's the way they're making money off of it. So it's not even I mean, it is a public good, right? But they're monetizing it heavily, and so they could definitely be piping
Yeah.
some of that back into future development without a doubt, I imagine. But rant
Yeah.
off. That's my
Anyways, this will be all for us today on my end.
good on I do.
So, thank you so much, everyone who joined today. We have quite an audience today, 121 people. Thank you so much, at least on Discord. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to see you all next Monday. Remember that if you have a news that you would like to comment, share, or any feedback, please don't hesitate to either send us a DM to Ted or to me, or send a public message on the One Hive TV channel.
Right on I do. It's always good to chat, my man. You have a good rest of your week, and we will see you soon.
All right. Thank you. Have a nice day to you too. Bye bye, everyone.
Yeah, and GM again to everybody here in Discord with us and over on YouTube. So we're sort of toggling back and forth, and I really appreciate people's contributions there. Azor, we definitely hear you on FIFA, right? Like, I see the attempt to sort of be relevant there. Definitely something to watch. I mean, what would be interesting to see is if like there's a major breakthrough, like a serious point of adoption for one of these big sports or gaming platforms, and if that happens, then like the partner project will obviously perform very well. So in this case, Algorand is interesting to watch. We're going to go ahead and spin the wheel right now. So we had a number of people who were engaged with us on Twitter today, so I put their names in the wheel here. We can see it if you're watching on YouTube, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to spin that wheel. Give me a sec. I think I'm doing this wrong, but we'll try it again. I have all the people's names in the wheel. Give me 1 second. We got proof of humanity up here. We're going to try this again. All right, so you got everybody's names up here. I'm going to click it and see who's going to win $10 worth of honey today. Folks that retweeted and left a comment tagging somebody's on Twitter. We got Pow again. Pow again. Congratulations. DM me, sir. If you are here in Discord, you're on YouTube, pop it in there. Pop your OX, okay? So, and by the way, I'm going to spin it once more because last week we had some issues with POW. So you kind of got to be tuned in, like paying attention. So you got to drop your OX right now, either on YouTube or on Discord, in order to win. So let's go ahead and see if we can do, we'll refresh it. Can I spin it again by clicking on it? I can. So if we don't hear from POW in the next minute, we're going to go with Rohek, my man. $10. Let's see. If POW fails to drop his OX, my man Rohek, you're down for some honey today. Okay. GM, everybody who's joining us, really appreciate you being with us. We are going to take a break here for a few minutes. We're going to get Willie up on stage with us, and we're going to get talking about ShapeShift. So don't go anywhere. We're back a little bit after the top of the hour, and we'll continue chatting. Then once again, folks, the YouTube link is at the bottom of the Happening Now event announcement here in the OneHive server. Click on that bit.ly link, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and we'll be back with more in a few minutes. Willie Fox, how you doing, sir?
GM T Wells, best day ever. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. Off to a decent start of the week here, if I do say so. It's looking good, man. It's looking good. I mean, despite everything, right? I'm bullish, man. We covered some great stories in the first hour, and I'm excited to get chatting about ShapeShift with you, man. What you been up to?
I'm bullish as well, man. I'm impermeable. You know, glad to see everyone continuing to build despite everything happening in the markets, like you said. Fundamental analysis is stronger than ever. I had a nice weekend there. Got to spend some time outside. Went skateboarding while my girlfriend rollerbladed. Went to the Denver Zoo yesterday to kill the bears. It was a nice weekend. But yeah,
Right
so
on,
far
man.
the week's off to a good start.
Gotta have those things to kill the bears, am I right?
Absolutely.
Let's do that, folks. Let's put it this way. If you guys, some of you kill the bears with, go to OneHive TV chat here in the Discord, drop an idea, share with us what you've been up to. Maybe we'll take a vote at the end of the hour and give out some free honey. But what do you do in moments like this? I'm looking forward to going to the beach personally, man. Weather's been looking up, and I'm closer to the ocean now that I moved, last year. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Do you surf, man? I know you said you skate.
I've tried surfing one time and was not able to actually stand up. It's harder than it looks for sure, but I would love to try again and learn one day.
Hey, man,
What
right
about
on.
you?
I ain't got no skating skills, so we teach each other something one day. For sure, man. Yeah.
Good deal.
Let's hit it up, man. I know, you want to chat a bit about ShapeShift, and maybe we could, plug the website, folks, shapeshift.io. If you haven't been there before, you should definitely go, and you can click the upper right-hand corner to get to the app, right, Willie?
That's right. And we even got... are you screen sharing or anything, T Wells?
I am on YouTube. I got a screen share up, and people can find that link, the bit.ly link, in the event announcement here in the server. So yeah, hit me up with any links you want. We'll pop them over there. Do you want me to get the this? Would you like the presentation, or just I got the website up right now?
Website's good. I'm just trying to find it so I can follow along. I'm trying to find the event announcements channel.
So at the very top, it should be the event itself in the server. 1HTV DAO's new,
cool.
Yeah, and the bit.ly link I think should take you to right to YouTube. There is a bit of lag, by the way. Yeah, there's a little bit of latency, I think.
Cool. So yeah, you want me to just dive in, give a quick overview of ShapeShift?
Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's do it.
Today?
Absolutely, folks. And if you haven't, heard of them before, definitely head over to their Discord. We'll drop some links in the OneHive TV chat while Willie's presenting the project here.
Cool. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Happy to give an overview of ShapeShift. ShapeShift's got really awesome history and an awesome community, and really excited about what we're building and about the opportunity to share it with all of you guys today. So here's our website. You can see right now we're touting the new ShapeShift. So ShapeShift, for those of you guys who haven't heard of us, we've been around since 2014. We were initially launched by Eric Voorhees in the wake of Mt. Gox. So right after this one centralized exchange was trading about 80% of Bitcoin, and it got hacked. And people learned the hard way for the first time, really, not your keys, not your coins. So Eric had the idea to launch ShapeShift, which was the first way that you could trade crypto non-custodially from your own wallet. So rather than depositing crypto onto an exchange and trading it there and then hopefully withdrawing it at some point, ShapeShift enabled you to trade. Initially, it was Bitcoin and Litecoin across chain with no account or KYC. And this is before DEXs, before Uniswap, and it was cross chain. So it was a really cool model. It really quickly gathered a lot of steam. A lot of wallets integrated it. So if you ever traded crypto using Exodus or Coinify or Jax, you would have, it was probably powered by ShapeShift. So that was a pretty successful model. But fast forward to 2018, the industry kind of evolved. Regulations, particularly, started to be passed, and crypto started to be treated like money. And because of that, ShapeShift came to the conclusion that in order to continue operating, we would need to start requiring KYC, play by the rules. So we made that change. It was a really big change. It was my first day at ShapeShift, actually. The whole company heard the announcement that we were going to have to implement KYC. And we had spent millions of dollars on legal bills trying to see if there was a path where we could avoid it. But unfortunately, the conclusion was that in order to continue operating, we really had no choice but to implement KYC. So we did that, and we ended up losing a lot of our users. A lot of the wallets that had integrated us for trading instead integrated competitors like Changely, who had not yet implemented KYC. And we were forced to ShapeShift. We launched a new version of ShapeShift that was really focused on hardware wallets. So particularly KeepKey, which is a hardware wallet that ShapeShift owns, but also support for Ledger and Trezor. And we were basically trying to make a really easy interface to manage your crypto on hardware wallets. And we still use the ShapeShift trading functionality to enable people to trade. And it took us until, I guess, early 2021. Basically, in 2020, we saw these DEXs emerge. And basically, DEXs like Uniswap were kind of doing the original vision of ShapeShift, enabling users to trade crypto non-custodially, even better than we were. And they weren't having to require KYC because they were decentralized. And we thought that was pretty awesome. So early 2021, we integrated 0x to aggregate all of the DEXs on Ethereum. In April 2021, we integrated Thorchain for cross-chain trading, the day that they launched mainnet. And that day, we also sunset the ShapeShift trading engine. And we stopped requiring KYC because there's no need for us to require KYC when we're just enabling users to interact with these decentralized protocols. And so that was really exciting. We're finally getting back to our roots. Once again, you can trade Bitcoin and Ethereum on ShapeShift with no KYC. And in July, this is the really exciting announcement. We announced that we were going full DAO and sunsetting the ShapeShift centralized organization. We did a big airdrop of Fox tokens to over 1 million past users and community members. And we started building out the DAO. And we're about 9 months into this journey now. So that was kind of an overview of ShapeShift history. The big focus over the past 9 months has been on this new open source version of ShapeShift that you can see right here. So if you click launch ShapeShift, we've been very focused on rebuilding the legacy version of ShapeShift in an open source fashion that's designed for decentralization. So right now, ShapeShift has a web app as well as a mobile app, and you can buy, sell, send, receive, trade, and earn yield across 11 different chains. But ShapeShift's the legacy app is centralized, right? We run the node infrastructure for it. We have a server and a database with data for all of our different users. And as a DAO, one of our first decisions was to replace that legacy centralized version with a version that's completely open source, community owned, private, free, multi-chain, and soon fully decentralized. So you can come here, you can connect MetaMask, you can create a ShapeShift native wallet, which is a lot like MetaMask, but it's cross-chain. And yeah, we're pretty close to having parity with the legacy version. So when you come in here, you can buy, sell crypto. You can see your portfolio. You can trade. You can also earn yield and deposit into any of the Yearn vaults. And we're basically like really focused right now on getting all of the features necessary to basically sunset these legacy versions, the centralized versions, and migrate all of the Shapeshift users over to this new open source version. And while we're doing this, while we're focusing on getting to parity, we're also building everything out with abstraction layers. So that, like, for example, if you go to the DeFi page, T-Wells, you'll see all of these different Yearn vaults, as well as Foxy. And if you had a wallet besides MetaMask connected that supported Cosmos, you'd also see the ability to stake Cosmos and earn yield in your Cosmos.
So if can I connect the Kepler wallet, for example?
Kepler wallet's going to be available like in the next couple of weeks. That's in progress right now.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just curious. Yeah.
Yeah, and what we're trying to build here is a single interface that supports all the wallets, all the chains, and all the protocols. And that's something that ShapeShift has really focused on for years, right? Like supporting all these different chains. We very much believe in a multi-chain future and creating the best UI UX to try and make it as easy as possible for the masses and for advanced users to do what they want to do in the crypto world, whether it's buy, sell, send, receive, trade, or earn yield on whatever wallet and whatever chain they want to do that on. So we've built this in a way, if you click on any of these, you'll see a really nice UI UX for depositing into these vaults. And for any of you DeFi power users, you know that a lot of these different, what we call single asset staking protocols, have the same exact UI UX, right? You're approving a token, you're choosing how much you want to deposit, and then you're watching your balance go up, or you're claiming rewards. So rather than like every protocol building their own UI for this and hosting it themselves, that's a big problem right now that we don't talk about a lot. But we have these awesome decentralized protocols, but oftentimes the interfaces to these decentralized protocols are centralized themselves. And that's a big liability for these teams. It's, oftentimes you see more and more of these interfaces blocking US users and requiring that you check a box and say you're not in the US or use a VPN. And oftentimes, someone's hosting these interfaces, and it's probably a core member of the team, and that's a big risk for that team member, and it's a risk for the users and for decentralization, because if this interface can be centralized, then a lot of people won't be able to actually interact with it. So at ShapeShift, we're trying to build the best UI UX we can for these common DeFi categories. So things like single asset staking, liquidity providing, farming, even bonding, lending and borrowing. A lot of these UI UXs look the exact same across categories, or very similar. And we can build one UI UX that handles all the different nuances and makes it very easy for protocols to actually come add themselves. That was something that we realized at ShapeShift before, when we were closed source and centralized, was that there's a lot of awesome protocols out there. And right, it's not clear which protocol is going to win. There's new improvements always coming out. And instead of trying to pick a single protocol to win, it makes a lot of sense to just aggregate all these protocols and create one UI UX in one interface where users can come and see the best opportunities for the assets they hold across protocols and really across chains. And that doesn't exist yet, and it's a lot of work. And if we try to build that all ourselves internally, we're limited by the bandwidth of our own internal resources. But if we can create an open source interface and these abstraction layers so that it's very easy for projects to come add themselves, or if they prefer, just put up a bounty and have community developers come at it, that could be the only way to actually support this rapidly growing number of protocols.
Yeah, no, I know, and it's.
So I've talked for a lot. Yeah, any questions so far, too?
Well, I just want to make sure people know. So if you go either to shapeshift.io or you go app.shapeshift.io, you'll connect your wallet. You can connect with MetaMask, as Willie mentioned. And right now you got access. If you're using Ethereum, we have access to mainnet earning through Yearn vaults, correct? And then is there a specific wallet that is integrated for Cosmos? I know I asked about Kepler, but is there another? What is the best way to connect now?
Right now for Cosmos, you can use ShapeShift native wallet or Kiki. And then Kepler wallet's coming, XDeFi wallet is coming, Tally wallet's coming. Right now we're working on all these wallets in tandem, and also Wallet Connect support. So In a couple of weeks, we're releasing support for a lot more wallets, and then kind of the hope from there is that wallets will come add themselves or put the bounty up for the community to integrate them.
Sweet. And if people want to, they have some capital on mainnet and they want to use the app, or maybe they have some Fox tokens already, share a little bit about Foxy. I know this is something that's, it launched a couple weeks back, but if people haven't heard about it, it's a pretty cool project.
Yes, Foxy is awesome. So you can see you can stake Fox right now. This is provided by ShapeShift. Foxy is a new kind of protocol that we launched, and I see it as a really elegant evolution to traditional token staking contracts, like X Sushi, for example. So X Sushi is a contract where you can stake your sushi, and then you get a share of protocol revenues. So every swap that happens on SushiSwap, 0.05% of that goes towards buying sushi and rewarding sushi stakers, and that's pretty cool. And I love models where governance tokens enable token holders to actually share in the revenues generated by the protocol. And so that's what Foxy is primarily. Foxy is the main way that the ShapeShift DAO can share revenues that it generates with token holders. But it's a really nice evolution over the traditional kind of V1 staking contracts. So first of all, Foxy is a rebasing token. So you deposit Fox, you get Foxy. Foxy is always backed 1-to-1 by Fox. And every week, as revenues are added to the Foxy contract, the token rebases. So your balance goes up. You get to see your Foxy balance go up without any action or gas cost on your end. And then it's always backed 1-to-1 by Fox. So you can unstake your Foxy for Fox. There is a fee to do it instantly, but you can get it in 7 days for no fee if you request a withdrawal. And the reason for this is that the tokens, when you stake your Fox, are not just sitting there idly doing nothing. Right now, basically the cool thing about Foxy is that the tokens that are deposited and staked in there can be deployed into DeFi strategies, both to boost yield for the stakers and also to support Fox and support the Fox economy. So right now, the strategy that we're using is the tokamak Fox reactor. So when you deposit Fox, you get Foxy. The staked Fox gets deposited into the tokamak reactor to generate yield. Right now, there's a 10% yield on the Fox token reactor. And tokamak actually then takes the Fox deposited into the Fox token reactor and deploys it to dexes like Uniswap paired with ETH. So it's a great way to deepen Fox liquidity at no ongoing cost to the DAO, and it boosts the yield for the token stakers.
That's really cool. So in other words, if you're participating in this, in the Foxy, and staking Fox through the app, in part, you're obviously earning, you are earning yield, or Foxy is a yield bearing token, right? But you are also contributing indirectly to deeper liquidity for the for the token across. Well, it sounds like on Uniswap through tokamak.
Exactly, which is pretty cool compared to
cool.
Just traditional token staking contracts where all the tokens are sitting there idly doing nothing. Obviously, that's opportunity for improvement whenever you have tokens sitting idly doing nothing.
Well, and the withdrawal mechanic is really cool to me. I just always like having customizable options. And yeah, I mean, in a world where people are often only have one, right? It's you either locking for a long time or there's just an automatic withdrawal fee. Yeah, that sort of the ability to toggle is really cool.
Agreed. It's nice to have the optionality. And that fee's a little bit high right now. We're working on a V2 of Foxy right now that will enable us to decrease that. Without going into too much details, it's we're integrating Elastic Swap, which is the first DEX that supports rebasing tokens. So right now, rebasing tokens have, in some ways, like a bad rep because there haven't been any hugely successful rebasing tokens, or I guess tokens that have been able to sustain their success. There's also a lot of limitations with rebasing tokens, and I think one of those primary limitations is that you haven't been able to provide liquidity for rebasing tokens natively on DEXs. If you look at Uniswap stocks, they say do not create a liquidity pool with rebasing tokens because stuff will break. Elastic Swap was the first DEX to solve that. They're launching on Ethereum mainnet imminently, and we're integrating them into the contracts to enable basically swapping Foxy for Fox through Elastic Swap, which will enable us to decrease that instant withdrawal fee.
Got it. Very cool.
Yeah, lots more coming with Foxy. It's pretty cool though. It's like the first, our primary vision and mission here is to build the ultimate interface to the decentralized universe, and not necessarily compete on the protocol level, but rather aggregate protocols and focus on the decentralized interface. But we're a DAO, and the community can prioritize anything. And Foxy was actually an idea that came from Eric Voorhees, and he put up a bounty out of his own pocket to get it built. So yeah, we're mainly focused on the interface level, but we certainly can build protocols when the community has a cool idea for one. And yeah, this ended up being a really great project that aligned with is something that we need. It's helping to bring users to the ShapeShift interface, which is awesome. But we have some big plans for it, and I can't say too much, so stay tuned. But yeah, there's a lot more coming with Foxy and with yieldies. We call it kind of the category of these new rebasing yield bearing tokens, yieldies. And we got some exciting stuff coming soon.
Right. Well, I know that there's there's always a lot of great action. I mean, one of the things that sort of pulled me into ShapeShift at the end of last year was just how much governance activity there's been. And every DAO goes through different phases, but do you want to share a little bit more on the product roadmap, or what would you like to hit up? And we could talk about any number of things here. I do have the slides if you want me to toss those up.
Yeah, and in 1 second, talk about the roadmap. Always cool to look at where we're going. One final thing I want to point out that I think is really cool while we're on the app is the fact that all of these things are free. So any of these yield generating opportunities don't cost users any extra to use through ShapeShift. You can trade, and it doesn't cost you any extra through ShapeShift. And contrast that with MetaMask, where they're adding a 0.875% swap fee on every swap in MetaMask, which I think is like so ridiculous and honestly pretty lame. And it's more than these protrols charge.
So well, you were just ripping really on them.
Cool model.
You heard me ripping on him earlier.
I didn't even hear that, but yeah, I mean, MetaMask, kudos to them. They've provided a lot, but I hope that MetaMask isn't like the ultimate interface to the decentralized universe. I don't, and we can talk about that. Why not on the product roadmap slide? But
with those fees, they need a better UI, brother.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like a freaking mock-up or wireframes. But yeah, so ShapeShift, we have a model where it doesn't cost anything. We don't ever add any fees on top of decentralized protocols. But we have affiliate revenues. So when you deposit into Yearn vaults on ShapeShift, the DAO earns revenues. Right now with trading, that's one that we're not monetizing yet, but we're working on an integration with CowSwap and affiliate revenues there. So when you trade, you'll get the best rates, won't cost you any extra, but the DAO will generate revenues. Same where if you buy or sell crypto, we have affiliate revenues there as well. And I think that's just an awesome model. It basically, as a user, it enables you to support public goods because everything we're building is open source, free, community owned, and it doesn't cost you any extra. And I think that's a pretty powerful model. And one of the things I'm really excited about is rewarding users with Fox. This is something we used to do at centralized ShapeShift. We need to rebuild those Fox reward systems in a decentralized fashion. And we have a pretty clear idea for how to do that. Right now, we're really focused on just building a really awesome product that is the best in and of itself, just in terms of the features it provides in the UI UX. But one thing that we're really, we're all about making this community owned. And one thing I'm excited about is basically rewarding users who complete revenue generating activities through ShapeShift. So who generate revenue for the DAO by doing things like trading, buying, selling crypto, earning yield with Fox tokens. So that we can not only be the best in terms of the functionality we offer in the UI UX, but we can objectively be the best in the sense of on the bottom line. It's basically it would cost you more in terms of the opportunity cost to interact directly with these protocols from your own node on chain than to use them through ShapeShift, because you'd be giving up on that Fox that you'd be earning by using them through ShapeShift. So I think this is our best chance at basically beating MetaMask. I think that those network effects that we can establish, and we could try to undercut them on fees and race them to the bottom and say, oh, we're going to charge 0.855% or 0.845%, but that's just a race to the bottom. And I think instead, if we can front run that race and be free is very powerful. And even better than free, it's like we can actually reward you for using ShapeShift, and reward people who refer people to ShapeShift with ownership of this app. I think that's our best hope for basically building an alternative to MetaMask and beating MetaMask. And now's a good time to segue into the product roadmap, and we can talk about kind of our full vision here. But yeah, I'm really excited about that model, and basically, rewarding users and making this a truly community owned project as opposed to one owned by JP Morgan.
This is the goal, is it not? I think, yeah, I can tell, the sort of commitment to the decentralized ethos is important. Even if, trickles, anybody you're talking to in ShapeShift, I think has a similar set of priorities, which is cool. And I just put up on the screen here, I pulled one of the slides that has, it's a really cool column comparison where you have like the different features and comparing ShapeShift with Zapper and MetaMask and all those. But is there a certain slide you like to start on? I can kind of pull them. It's a little tricky dance here because I can't like quite do share screen. Otherwise the resolution will be all messed up. But where would you like to start, man?
Let's go to the solution slide. And that talks about kind of all the principles that we think that the ultimate decentralized interface should have. So we're thinking from first principles. We've got an awesome community. We've got a solid treasury and runway to build. So it's like, what's the best thing we can build? And personally, I can't think of anything more valuable than this ultimate decentralized interface to the decentralized universe. There's so many awesome protocols out there. I love HoneySwap. I love everything OneHive's doing. I love Giveth. I love all these different protocols. But in order to really achieve this future that we're all building towards, this amazing decentralized future, we need decentralized interfaces. And I think ShapeShift is in a really great position to provide that, because if we go to the solution slide, you can see kind of what the things that we think that the ultimate interface should include.
It should queue up in just a second.
You have that slide?
Yeah, there it is.
Perfect. Awesome. So yeah, so we think the ultimate interface of the decentralized universe should satisfy each of the following. It should be non-custodial, and not just non-custodial, but multi-wallet, right? Like I love Ledger Live, but I don't ever think Ledger Live is going to be the ultimate interface because it only supports ledgers, right? Multi-chain is something we've always believed in at ShapeShift. Like I love MetaMask, I love Zapper, but they're Ethereum only, and there's more happening in the decentralized world than on Ethereum. And ultimately, I love Ethereum. Ethereum is my favorite chain and my favorite community. But at the end of the day, whichever chain ultimately solves these problems and has this Turing complete platform where we can launch decentralized protocols that are secure and unstoppable and trustless and immutable and accessible at a cost that people can actually interact with, like we're happy, right? And if that's happening on multiple chains, that's fine, right? But people should have the option, and they should have access to all these different chains that they want to interact on. Open source, this one's, I think, a must-have, and not only because the ultimate interface should be open source, but I think it must be open source, just again in order to integrate the long tail, all of these different decentralized protocols. It's too hard to do that with a closed source project, and if you are doing it with a closed source project, it's going to be very expensive to fund all that development. Community owned. We have the ability for this interface to be owned by the community, by its users, as opposed to privately owned. And so I think it's a given that it should be. And again, you get some really powerful benefits from that when you have a community of owners who are aligned with the success of the project. That's something that's very powerful and hard for a privately owned project to compete with. Decentralized, again, this one is very difficult, but both the front end itself should be decentralized and stored on things like IPFS, so that anyone can access the front end, and using things like ENS, decentralized routing services, so that it cannot be censored or stopped. And free, this is the one that I am very passionate about, and it is a very powerful attribute. And even better than free, ideally, this interface will reward you with ownership for the value that you provide to it as a user. So this is what we're building. And it's going to take some time, but we're well on our way towards it. We've got an awesome community of builders, and we got some awesome processes. Just the DAO itself right now is running like a pretty well-oiled machine, where there's of course always room for improvement. And one of the cool things about the DAO is that if anyone's got an idea for how we can DAO it better, they're encouraged to share those ideas and execute on them. But yeah, you mentioned our governance process is going well. We also have a really cool organizational structure. If you want to pull up shapeshift.com/careers, we can show this org structure that's enabled us to work really productively and efficiently at scale. And yeah, the fact that we're open source now, we were the top project consistently on Gitcoin for bounties. So we're putting up new engineering bounties every day, and there's a community of developers that basically have become familiar with ShapeShift's code base, and they know that there's going to be new bounty opportunities for them regularly. We're actually now switching over to D-Work for bounties though. So we love Gitcoin. We're trying out D-Work because it's got some really awesome features. And if anyone's following the screen right now, this is basically that revenue model that we talked about earlier. So we have not yet implemented the bottom left portion where the users will earn Fox for the value they add, but the other part is in place right now, and there's a growing number of revenue streams live and that we're adding this year that enable you to basically use ShapeShift for free, but still generate revenue for the DAO that goes towards funding further development of these open source public goods. Awesome. So I see you're on the careers page.
Yeah, we're on there now. Okay.
That's awesome. We got an image of the organizational structure. This has been pretty cool. It's something that we figured out that we would we realized we would need right before we launched this DAO in July. It's like how, if we have, let's say, 40 plus contributors that we expect to migrate from centralized ShapeShift to the DAO, how are we actually going to, get people paid and get work done without completely overwhelming our governance process? And so, for when DAOs first start out and you have a small handful of contributors, having a flat organization makes a lot of sense, right? You don't necessarily need titles. And if you have a proposal every month to pay everybody, that's not overwhelming by any means. But then as you scale to, let's say 40, 50 contributors, you can imagine that if you had a single proposal to pay everybody or proposals to pay each individual, it'd be very overwhelming for governance participants. And it would, it can really, if you have that, it can really ruin your governance process, right? If you get to a point where the majority of the proposals that are coming through aren't really relevant to the token holders, and we had a lot of Fox token holders, you can break your governance. So we basically implemented this organizational structure. We kind of gifted it to the community when we launched the DAO, and we said, here's a proposed organizational structure that you're welcome to use. But again, if anyone has a better idea for how to just organize yourselves, let's hear it. But so far, this has worked really well. So we are using Colony on Gnosis Chain, and we actually just transferred over this month's budget this morning. So we do one transfer from mainnet each month with all the work streams budgets. And then each of these work streams has made proposals to the community to fund their work stream. Typically, the first proposals are for like 4 months, and then once they've established some credibility and a good reputation, they'll do proposals for 6-month budgets. And once the community approves of work stream's budget proposal, then basically the work stream is kind of like a sub DAO that can operate autonomously and allocate their budget however that work stream best sees fit to achieve the goals that they've proposed to the community. So there's no extra proposals required every time these work streams want to spend funds. And that enables them to move very quickly. And again, they're totally independent. They can use their budgets however they best see fit to achieve their vision and their mission, whether that's hiring full-time contributors or putting up bounties or, even working with like an agency. All of that's on the table, and we really defer to the community or to the work streams. And as long as the work streams are doing a good job, then they can continue getting funded. And if they're not doing a good job, then ultimately the community is still in charge, and they can make follow-on proposals to adjust a budget to replace a work stream leader, or even like in an extreme scenario, they could cancel a work stream if they really felt like that was the best move.
And so, like, in your experience also, I know you fold in Coordinate as well at most work streams, right?
Yeah. And again, that's a perfect example for if a work stream wants to use Coordinate, they have that tool available to them. If not, they aren't required to.
Right. I tell you, whoever cracks the nut on Coordinate distro automation, I will let's have you on the show. I'm waiting. Billy,
I heard there's a Coordinate Colony integration coming up, so you can just basically export that's payment spreadsheet right into Colony and create the motions. Looking forward to that.
See, those of us who are on the operations side, there are always people got ideas to make life easier for us, and I'm excited for that. That's really cool. Just did our distro this morning, actually, for the TV team. Yeah, I enjoy Coordinate. I say in general, I think the outcomes have been, surprisingly on point. I'll say that's from our personal perspective, but
yeah, Coordinate is a super cool tool. But yeah, you need it's just the that layer for figuring out how to allocate stuff.
Right?
So yeah, you need something like Gnosis Day for or Colony to actually manage the treasury and distribute the payments.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's of course do a little pitch for gardens and you know the some of the work that they're doing with osmotic funding. In other words, the integration of almost, if you imagine, like once a work stream's funding is secured, then rather than like a budget for a certain period of time, you would have like a certain volume, say, of whatever the token is that's streamed to, you know, their wallet address that can then stream down to the contributor levels. And the idea being there that they're like those streams, say, coming from the common pool in OneHive's case, or you know, from the existing cache of stable coins or whatever the resource pool is that's being used, the community can, like, once the streams are in place, then the communities can like shift or modulate them over time. So it creates this effect where, you know, the traditional like period based quarterly you know, funding requests, those would hypothetically go away, but you could see some interesting like fluid changes based on performance and how the community feels. I dig all the sort of nerdy like experimentation at the governance level and, you know, flows.
Same, we're still super early, and yeah, we're here for it all. So we were having conversations just this past week around like our governance model, and some people are interested in like some more democratic, less plutocratic governance methodologies, and we're talking about how the challenges with that until civil resistance is solved. But definitely
Right.
excited for that, and I think like we were talking about potentially implementing quadratic voting once civil resistance is solved, so that we can level the playing field a bit out with the whales.
Yeah. Yeah, right on. I mean, I think that it's always good. Like, there's no one size fits all model, right? So whatever, I'm for experimentation and just like adaptation. It's very cool, man. I did drop, folks, for people who are with us on the server here. Copy of the image you see on screen on YouTube is also there. Just a PDF of the hierarchy, or I'm sorry, the framework for the shifting from a hierarchy to a decentralized, you know, work stream structure, the ShapeShift DAO. If you want to take a look, folks.
Thanks to Wells. Another thing we should probably talk about for a bit is Foxchain.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
I think there might be some slides for that in the proposal.
See.
But yeah, so we talked about obviously one of the big goals for ShapeShift DAO is to create an interface to this decentralized universe that is decentralized itself. The first part of that is decentralized in the front end, and that's pretty straightforward. It's a little bit trickier for us because our client stores keys with the Shapeshift native wallet. So there's some additional security implications that we need to be careful with. But that's all getting worked on right now, and soon you'll be able to access the UI in a decentralized fashion. But then the next piece is the backend, and decentralizing the blockchain data, access to the blockchain data that the Shapeshift app needs to run. Because basically, this new version that we're building, all it is an interface between users' keys and these blockchains. We don't have any kind of database that we're hosting ourselves that stores any additional information. Any other information that would be stored would just be stored on the client side. So Shapeshift historically has been running nodes for all the different chains that we support ourselves, and we understand how much work that is. And what we're working on right now is Foxchain. It's in the early stages of development, and Foxchain TLDR it's a decentralized network that incentivizes node operators to run nodes for each of the blockchains that we support and provide that blockchain data to clients directly. Um, so basically you can think of Foxchain as kind of like a decentralized Infura. So right now, if you are it's not only necessary for Shapeshift's app to be decentralized, but really for any dApp that wants to actually be decentralized and not run the nodes themselves or rely on a centralized third party to provide that blockchain data. They could also plug into Foxchain and basically both make requests. The client can make requests for any of the blockchain data that they need, and can also broadcast transactions to any of the chains that we support. And we're working on this with Coinbase Cloud, which is pretty cool. Coinbase Cloud has been awesome, and basically approached us and heard about Foxchain, and had some ideas for how they could support. And they've been very supportive. So we're working with them right now on the design, the architecture of Foxchain. They're going to be working with us on actually building it out. And once Fox Chain launches, they're going to be running validators and helping to operate Fox Chain. So something that we're really excited about, and again, something that we need ourselves for Shapes to be decentralized, but something that we're hopeful will be useful to other dApps that also want to be decentralized themselves.
Dope, man. Yeah, I'm gonna get
So
the.
lots happening in ShapeShift, man. Yeah.
I'll share the link, folks. We got to update the video. We had a quick turn on some edits there, but we got a summative video, I guess, on Fox Chain. It's a good intro, and you get to hear Willie and some other folks from ShapeShift DAO, as well as the Coinbase team in an AMA, which it's been quite a while since it's been passed, but this is a huge undertaking. So I think listening in, I'll share the video link once it's posted, and y'all should definitely check it out. I think that this is, so just so we're clear, right? ShapeShift DAO will be launching its own Cosmos-based blockchain, right? To not only host your own products, but also other. It will be a permissionless chain, right? So people could hypothetically come build on Fox Chain, right, Willie?
Absolutely. People can add new chains to Fox Chain, which is pretty cool. You can think about like a new blockchain, either trying to decide whether they want to build like their own decentralized Infura, or whether they want everyone to have to run nodes in order to build on their chain, or they can add themselves to Fox Chain and potentially even run their own nodes for Fox Chain and actually get paid to do it. So something like Fox Chain really needs to exist. There are some other cool projects that are working on different approaches to this. I think Pocket Network is probably the top project right now. And we looked at Pocket Network as a potential solution for ourselves, but we found that it didn't actually solve our own needs. And Fox Chain is a very different approach to solving a similar problem. So yeah, we're really excited about it. We've got an awesome team working on it. Michael Perkland is the work stream leader for this, and he was a former chief information and security officer at ShapeShift. He's been in the space for, I don't know, I want to say since like 2012, very, very early days. And yeah, the Coinbase Cloud team has been really supportive as well. So if you're interested in Fox Chain too, we're always looking for more contributors. It's a big challenge. It's going to take some time, but it's an exciting and important challenge. And I can't think of a better team to be working on it.
Word, folks. And if you're joining us here in the Discord, I dropped a link to the ShapeShift server. If you're not over there, you definitely should hop over to their Discord. They got stuff going on all the time. You'll have these sort of public meetings on a regular schedule that keep things transparent. So if you're just interested in learning more, or if you are listening and you're like, oh, I'd like to try to find a way to plug in with some technical skills of some kind, definitely head over to their Discord and get started. Is there a specific part, like a place that you would direct people, or where there's a specific amount of action right now, aside from obviously just dropping in Gen Chat and all that? But is there a specific spot in the Discord you might direct people, Willie?
Yeah, the Discord's popping 24/7. Also, if English isn't your native language, we've got some awesome communities that speak other languages. I think our strongest right now are our Portuguese community and our Korean community. So definitely encourage people to jump in and get involved. We've got meetings every day in the public meetings in the Discord. So if you're interested in a particular work stream, I would check out our calendar to see when that work stream's next office hours are. Or for engineers, we have daily stand-ups that you can attend. We also do engineering demos every other Wednesday. So this Wednesday, engineers will be demoing their progress from the past 2 weeks. Those meetings are always really fun. And yeah, if you check out the shapeshift.com/careers, you can see any open positions we have, as well as links to the various bounties that we have available. Lots of opportunities to get involved, and it's a great community. So I really think ShapeShift is one of the best communities to join if you are interested in getting more involved with Web3 and crypto. We've got so many great people with a wealth of experience that are happy to teach. So it's a great place to learn, and there's just so much opportunity to get involved and start earning some crypto.
Hell yeah. And are you going to permissionless, you said? So you headed to conference?
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys in Miami at the beach next week, or I guess Palm Beach, Florida.
Are you going to be speaking down there,
Are you
obviously?
gonna be there too, Will?
I will not be. Not this time, man. No, unfortunately not. But you going to be up on stage?
I am not going to be speaking this year. I didn't apply or anything. But I did just get my speaker application in this weekend for ETH Barcelona. So hope
Oh,
to see you
hell
guys there
yeah.
too.
Are you gonna do the ETH Barcelona and ETHCC? Spend some time in Europe this summer, you think?
I haven't settled on ETHCC yet, but it was awesome last year, and I would love to make it again this year. So
What
fingers crossed.
would you
There's so
say
much
is the
happening. It's
difference?
hard to
Yeah.
make it to all these conferences and build at the same time.
Well, there's been so much exciting stuff going on in Europe. I was like, trying to get my passport rush. We'll see. Because I haven't, with COVID and everything, I think my passport might have lapsed a year ago. Anyways, so, but yeah, I heard that there was like the vibe, obviously. So tell me if I'm wrong here, but Barcelona, at least talking to Edu, is a little more like technical driven, like more developer, like a larger proportion of the attendees are developer oriented, rather than CC was a little bit more like ETH Denverish, where you kind of get a mix of different sorts of people there. Would you say there's a different flavor? Like if people are living in Europe, I know there's some one-hivers that are over there and they're thinking about going and they can only go to one. How would you advise them between CC and Barcelona?
Yeah, great question. I think you're right. I think ETHCC they try to position it as more of like the community conference, as opposed to just a hackathon. And I haven't been to ETH Barcelona yet, but uh, yeah, I could see it being a little bit more builder focused than ETHCC, just because ETHCC has that community focus. I've also seen that ETH Barcelona has a lot of like public goods, solar punk vibes, and I'm a big fan of that movement. So couldn't miss that one.
Oh yeah, man. Well, I encourage you folks to check out the website here, shapeshift.io. Head over to their app as well. And yeah, there's a lot of cool features that are going to be coming out in the near future. And if you're interested in learn a little bit more about those, definitely head over to their Discord. If you are on Gnosis Chain, you can get Fox on Gnosis Chain. Is that an integration you're looking forward to in the relatively near future for the app, Willie?
Yes, it's in progress right now. And we're a little bit behind on the EVM abstraction. So right now, the only EVM network you can use on ShapeShift is Ethereum mainnet. But it's a top priority, and we're looking forward to supporting all the EVMs very soon, and then soon after that, supporting bridges to enable users to easily bridge between these EVMs. And Gnosis Chain is definitely one of the top EVMs on our priority list. So that's one that I'm personally very excited about.
Sweet. Well, I also got to plug the Honey Fox farm on the regen farms there. I'm gonna see if I can get up on screen here. We talked a little about this last week, folks, but if you're a Fox Honey holder, if you're on Gnosis Chain, you have some great farming opportunities there.
Yes, it's like a perfect three-way DAO to DAO collaboration with Giveth and OneHive and ShapeShift. So yeah, it's a great farm, and you can deposit Fox and Honey on HoneySwap and then stake it in the Giveth region farm to earn Fox rewards, and you can earn a Fox stream. And I think the APR is over 100% right now. So get it while the getting's good. It's a great pool to dive into.
Awesome, Willie. Is there anything else you want to touch on today? We can call it a wrap. Or if there's anything else you want to plug, man.
I think we've given a pretty comprehensive overview of ShapeShift. I could talk a little bit more about the specific next features that we're adding, but I think you guys have a pretty good idea. Ultimately, we're really trying to integrate all the wallets, all the chains, and all the protocols. And if you, as a community member, have a suggestion or a request on a chain or a protocol that you'd like to see soon, we'd love to hear it. Or if you'd like to get involved and help us work towards this mission, please jump in our Discord, introduce yourself, and we'd love to see how we can get you involved and get you some Fox tokens.
Right on, peeps. Well, I want to say GM again to everybody who's tuned in today and heard about ShapeShift here. If you have a chance, also ShapeShift at ShapeShift, I believe the Twitter, right? It recently changed. I just want to plug that too. Is it IO still, or is it just ShapeShift?
The DAO acquired the at ShapeShift handle.
That's
something that
right.
centralized ShapeShift was never able to do.
There we go. At ShapeShift here on Twitter. Well, we'll have to have you back soon, man. I'd love to do a panel on on regen, and maybe if you come back from permissionless. If you have some time to join us again, it'd be great, Willie, as always. And I've floated the idea too. We need to get trivia back, so I think we might do a live trivia event at some point next month in June. And ShapeShift was the very first sponsor of that fun event, so we'll have to collab in the near future and bring the people some fox honey.
Yeah, that sounds great. Would love to do more stuff with you guys. Love the One Hive crew.
Right on, Willie. Well, have a great rest of your week, man. It's always great to have you, and I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too, T-Walls. GM, everybody.
GM Willie. And GM to everybody. Once again, onehive.org, app.honeyswap.org on Gnosis Chain. Head over to ShapeShift.io if you want to learn more about their project, and appreciate everybody for joining us here in the Discord and on YouTube. We'll do one last plug there. If you're in the Discord server right now, if you look at the event that's currently going on, upper left hand corner, happening now, 1HTV DAO News Alpha, there is a bit.ly link beneath that. Click on that link, it'll take you to 1HTV on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the bell button, you'll get notifications when we go live. We are posting like highlight content over on the original One Hive YouTube channel. We're going to be cross-posting both, so you'll be able to watch back just this segment on ShapeShift. We'll get some good highlights for you all as well. Have a good rest of the week, folks, and we will see you next Monday. Don't forget, tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, we got Billy Jitsu coming on, late night show, earmuffs, or just after the kids have gone to sleep. And then Wednesday, we got NFTs and Gaming with Dash and Solar at 3 p.m. Eastern. Definitely check them out, mark your calendars. We'll put an event notification here in the One Hive Discord server, and we will talk to you all soon. Be well, stay bullish, folks.